What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Raised.
If you haven't heard of the After series, I think it is safe to assume you've been living under a rock for the last 2 years. After We Collided is the second book and film in the series and one of the most highly anticipated film sequels in a very long time. Hiro and Josephine have returned to the big screen, reprising their roles as Hardin and Tessa. But casting these two characters wasn't as simple as you may think, and the actors have shared some interesting stories about their time auditioning for the show.
Excuse me? I think that you're in the wrong room.
I'm in the right room.
Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos. Hiro Finds Tiffin. The After book series took the world by storm a few years ago when Anna Todd first began publishing chapters on Wattpad. It wouldn't be long before she found a massive following, and production companies began to notice. Within a couple of years, she would be offered a film deal that would turn all 4 of the main books into a film series, bringing her stories to fans around the world. She was also given a publishing deal to bring her stories into bookstores as well, so it's safe to say that Anna Todd was in for quite a ride in 2018 and 2019. As the film series was underway, the casting department began to look for actors to take on several of the lead roles, including Tessa and Hardin. Hardin was first on the list, but the team behind the movie series says that they managed to find the perfect actor for Hardin after just a week of receiving auditions. Hiro Finds Tiffin was first on their list of actors. Hiro was no stranger to the world of acting. While he may not have appeared in many large-budget films on his own, his family had a long history in the acting business, and Hiro picked up a thing or two along the way. After was his first chance at a big break, and it seems like the showrunners fell in love with him right from the very beginning.
He's more myself than I am. Whatever our souls are made of, his and mine are the same.
The director of the film, Jenny Cage, was heavily involved in casting new characters for the series. She wanted to do her best to make sure that these films had the best actors possible while keeping a reasonable budget in mind. While many directors don't learn who the final actors will be until much later in the process, Jenny wanted to be there from beginning to end to ensure that these films were amazing. She spoke about the time that they had discovered Hiro and mentioned that he had sent in an audition recording from London. She said, "We found Hiro early on in the process. His tape from London was one of the first auditions that we all saw. We didn't meet him in person until later, but even on tape, there was something about his vulnerability and his performance that really captivated me. He was perfect for Hardin." Sadly, we don't know for sure what happened in this audition tape that won everyone's over so quickly. I sure wish they would publish this tape one day so that we could all get a glimpse at the man who would soon become Hardin, but that seems pretty unlikely. Whatever he did in his performance, it seems like Hiro knew the character well from the beginning and did his best to make sure his character was as captivating as possible, believable, and the perfect fit for the role. If we look back to the book series, Hardin is described as having powerful green eyes, an English accent, beautifully good looks, and a stare that could cut through a brick wall. These are all character traits that I'm sure most of us would agree are super attractive, and it seems like Anna Todd knew this as well. Not only did she create the character of Hardin to have such amazing looks, but she was also involved in the casting process from beginning to end and played a major role in making sure Hiro was the one and only choice for Hardin. Anna Todd says that she was sitting in the casting room with the casting department when audition tapes began to pour in. She knew from the moment she saw Hiro's tape that he was the only person fitting for the job. She said, "When I got in the room with Hiro, about 30 seconds in, I said to Jen, 'What just happened? This is it. No one else can be Hardin.' I was to the point where I was literally saying, if you guys even think about trying to hire someone else, we're going to be making a mistake. Hiro has something." I don't know what Hiro could have possibly done in his audition tape to convince anyone in such a unanimous way, but it may shock you to know that Hiro had never read the books or even heard of them when he began auditioning for the series. He wouldn't start reading them until much later on when he was doing his best to prepare for filming. He says that his personality traits are very different from who he is in real life, but that's part of what makes Hardin so interesting to play. Hiro spoke in an interview about being cast as Hardin and said, "I had never heard of the book after when I first auditioned, but as soon as I mentioned it, everyone and their mum around me knew what it was. I don't relate to Hardin in too many ways, and that's why I find him funny to play, because there are aspects of his personality that interest me. His lack of self-control, the fact he's very logical but also impulsive and can be very erratic and unpredictable." Hardin is a womanizer who changes throughout the film, thanks to Tessa. Hardin is a dangerous character. He can go either way. You think you know him, and then he will surprise you. Josephine Langford. So we know that Hiro comes from a long line of popular actors, but Josephine Langford only comes from a family of two sisters who wanted to get into acting around the same time. You may know that her sister, Catherine, was the star of the Netflix series 13 Reasons Why, though these two sisters couldn't be much more different. The casting process for Tessa was also very different from the process for Hardin. It took the creators a long time to find the perfect fit for Tessa. They say that it was just a couple of weeks before filming began that they managed to stumble across Josephine's audition tape and felt that she was a perfect fit for the role of Tessa. Though, while the process may have been much more difficult, producer Jennifer Gibbo says that the moment Josephine appeared on the screen, she knew that she was perfect for the role. Jennifer says, "At the exact right moment, this girl happened to Skype in from Perth, Australia, auditioning for the role of Molly. And the second she came on screen, I said, that is our Tessa."
That one is...
I have no idea.
Josephine remembers the time she auditioned saying, "I was back home and did a self-tape for Molly. Then I did a Skype callback. Then a week later, when I was waiting to hear back about Molly, I got a call at 5 a.m. from my agents who said, 'The producers want to meet with you for the lead role.' So I got on a plane with about 16 hours notice, read the script on the plane to LA, had a meeting and about 2 other meetings, and then I got the job." Both she and Hiro seem to have a blast working with one another. They both speak of others in very high regard. Hiro said, "I could go on for ages about working with Josephine, but I'll start with her acting ability, which helps me so much, and the fact she's such a nice, considerate person. She acts so well, especially in emotional scenes, and really gives me a lot to feed off. She's really carrying this film." Josephine was just as happy to be working with Hiro, saying, "Hiro brings this vulnerability and sincerity to Hardin, which is difficult to find with a character like that. I've loved working with him. When you're doing this type of content, a lot of intimate and intense scenes, it's so important that you feel safe and comfortable with the person you're working with. So I feel lucky to have him as my partner through this experience." Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos.